Going to do a little nature walk down from the edge of Rye Town through Rye Harbour Nature Reserve. Just switch cameras so you can see what's going on. So we're starting here at Rye Harbour Road at the sluice gate over the River Breed. I'm not going to hang around here, but sometimes on a sunny day you do actually see a kingfisher here. The tide's in at the moment, which is why there's nothing flowing through here. You can see the gates are shut over that side, keeping the sea out. So if we were going to Castle Water, and actually I should say the little plaque here giving you info on Castle Water, but if you're going to Castle Water you'd head down that track towards the castle, which is off in the distance over the fields there. But today I'm going to go down the path that runs parallel to Rye Harbour Road. So just come along the footpath here, and there's just a little gate through here. You can see there's a nice view already over some of the fields there towards the castle. A little bit muddy underfoot. It's quite nice to have cut this path back at the moment, because sometimes in the past it has been pretty overgrown, but someone's come along recently with a brush cutter. Be out of this segment in a minute and into the fields. What's quite good about this walk is the garage I take my car to for servicing. I can drop the car off and then walk back this way. And you can see, if I zoom in, the castle in the distance there. So Castle Water is next to that. Quite a lot of water in the fields at the moment, and there's a lot of gulls down there. Looks like herring gulls mostly today at the moment. Oh yeah, someone's just joined. Just walking down the path from the edge of Rye Town towards Rye Harbour, going through the nature reserve. Just started at the Breed Sluice over the River Breed. Tide's most of the way in at the moment, so when we get to the sea there'll be quite a lot to see there in terms of waves and so on. Although it's not that windy today. Okay, so now we come out into a more open area. So it's very wet here, being marshland, so you've got a lot of these drainage ditches around. And hi everyone, hi Craig, and another Craig, Lauren, good to see you all. Yeah, I'll answer your chats if I can. I'm not doing anything else today, just walking and talking, so should be able to do that. There's a lot of birds over there, herring gulls. So yeah, very wet area. This needs, yes, hi Craig, hello. What's interesting is this bit of the path, you see it's slightly raised up. So this actually used to be a railway, and it ran from a branch line off from Rye down to the Rye Harbour industrial area. Five Nights at Freddy, no idea what that is, sorry. Yeah, so they used to have a little railway running down here, because they used to do a lot of processing of industrial chemicals. You know, you talk about 100 years ago. And all that's left now is this bank to walk along, which keeps you out of the mud at least. But it's one of the interesting things is that there are signs warning you not to pick and eat any of the blackberries down here. Great to have a scout on here. Yeah, so you're not allowed to eat the blackberries because of all the industrial stuff that went on down here over the years. There's quite a bit of contamination in the soil, so anything you eat might have some kind of nasty chemicals concentrated in it. Got another good view of the castle over there. I'll just zoom in for that. There we go. You can see the castle behind that tree there. So Castle Water, where I do a lot of videos from. Yeah, so there's the castle. And Castle Water's kind of over that way. The weird thing with that castle that's over there, it was you kind of think, why do they build a castle in the middle of this big open marsh area? But when it was built, something like 800 odd years ago, it was actually it was by the sea, and everything's silted up. There's so much shingle moving around here that it's all basically the sea moved away from the castle. So I think it was only in use for a couple of hundred years, and then its cannons couldn't reach the sea anymore, so it wasn't much use for defence. So now it's kind of stranded there. It used to be open occasionally, but there's bits of rock falling off the wall on it, so there's it's not really safe to go in now, and they've fenced it off. Where am I? Right, yes, I'm walking down the path from Rye Town in East Sussex, UK, towards Rye Harbour. This is kind of, we're already in the nature reserve here, but we'll get to some more interesting bits of it later on. It's probably about half-hour walk, but I'm already a bit of the way into that. Oh, so yeah, Scully, you're saying you're in the UK too? Well, if you're ever down in East Sussex, Rye Harbour Nature Reserve is worth a visit. This bit's kind of going through farmland really. There's sometimes sheep grazing here. When we get to the end of it, we'll be getting into the wetland areas. There's a lot of interesting water birds there. And then you get to the little Rye Harbour village itself and then the harbour. And through the other side of that, you've got a massive shingle nature reserve. And yeah, there's quite a lot of unusual bird life and plant life around there. Similar in some ways to Dungeness Reserve, which is a few miles along the coast and also worth a visit. Taking a look at these clouds, hoping I don't get rained on today. Hi there, 14 Paddock. No, it's not my farm, I'm on a public path here. So yeah, public footpath along, and you see it ahead of us. I'll just stop a second. So there's some trees ahead of us. Once we get to there, then we're into some of the more wetland areas, and the other wetland areas are over towards the castle that you can see there. Let's back out. Just flip so you can see me briefly. Hello everyone. Yes, I'm in the UK. I don't know how to pronounce your handle. Icy, maybe. Just reading the comments, Scully. Yeah, that sounds good. Be good to go around the castle and gardens there. I'll just flip camera. This scenery is more interesting than seeing me. Another of these big drainage ditches here to keep the land as dry as they can for the sheep. But this is great for the birds. I mean, there's not any in this one right now, but you often see swans going up and down them, and moor hens with their little chicks in the spring. So we've got that to look forward to still. What area in the UK? I've got to go through the gate. Make sure that shuts. Good. Yeah, I'm in East Sussex, so near Rye, kind of near the East Sussex-Kent border, halfway between Hastings and Ashford. Yeah, there's some really good coast along here. A lot of shingle, which you don't get in that many places. I think the shingle down at Dungeness is actually one of the 3 or 4 biggest shingle expanses in the world. And what's here at Rye Harbour is kind of part of the same shingle, but over the years some of the erosion from the sea has taken some of it away when you get along to where Canberra is. Sheffield. I used to live up in Leeds, so not far from Sheffield. Bit of a trek from Sheffield if you want to come down here, but if you're ever in the south for a holiday, it's worth taking a look. So you can see behind the trees here. So let me stop a minute. This is some of the industrial stuff behind the trees there. So it's yeah. I mean, you kind of think, oh, it's a shame having all this industry next to the nature reserve, but you know, it gives a lot of people jobs. I think a lot of people who live in Rye probably work down here. And in some ways, it's the historic industry that left the contaminated land that means that this area probably isn't going to get built on, really. So it should stay as a nature reserve. Here's an interesting bit. You can see, although this all looks quite grassy, if I just come over this way, you'll see that there's actually not a lot of soil here, because just under the surface is all the shingle. So this whole area is really just metres deep of shingle, and these banks you see like this are actually remnants of a bank of shingle from an ancient storm many thousands of years ago. So yeah, very sparse soil and vegetation here. Slowly over time. Right, we're coming in towards the wetland area in a minute. It is a bit windy here, yeah, not too bad. Didn't feel windy at all when I was in Rye, but now I'm out onto the more open areas. There's a bit more of a breeze. We're heading into the trees in a second, though. I'll try and speak up a bit in case the wind's affecting the microphone, which I guess it might be. Hi Kelly from Scotland. I haven't been to Scotland in years, but it's a lovely place to be. I'm kind of at the opposite end of the country now in East Sussex, so a bit of a trek from here. My wife's family from Scotland though. Right, into the mud. So I've got some decent boots on. Yeah, if you ever walk this path in the winter, you've got to come with the right footwear. Got my hiking boots and grubby clothes on today for this one. Right, and out again. Now earlier I mentioned Castle Water, and that's one of the places I've done quite a few videos from in the past. And at this point you can go that way to Castle Water. And actually there's a little bit of a map here. I don't know how well it'll focus. We're kind of where that point 14 is, so you could head down that way to Castle Water. We're going to head along this way though into the actual kind of salt marsh area and towards the sea. So a little way to go yet. Try not to fall over in this mud. This is actually quite a bit worse than the last time I saw it here. Yeah, it would be good doing it with the group. I've not persuaded anyone to come live with me at the moment. My wife wanted to stay at home this morning, so God, look at the state of this. It really has been a lot of rain here recently. I'm hoping this doesn't come up over my boots. Look at the state of that. Kind of sinking in it. That's right, through the worst of it. No water got in. That's a good job. Maybe I'll come back down the road. That was getting close to the top of my boots. So we've got a few birds overhead at the moment. Just herring gulls, nothing unusual. Interesting looking cloud formations out there though. And yeah, it's just really, really wet. Snow in East Sussex. Yeah, it's an awful lot of mud. Yeah, it hasn't... we did have a tiny bit of snow here about a month ago. It was cold in early January. But yeah, it doesn't snow often here. Only when we get a kind of strong east wind. I do miss the snow because I used to live further north, but you know, it is what it is. We get more sunshine in the summer down here, so that's all right. Apart from when we then get water shortages, but okay, we're actually on a kind of sandy surface here, and you start to see here a bit of the management that's being done in the nature reserve. So yeah, you didn't get any snow there at all, Kelly. Right. Yeah, we haven't had proper snow here since 2010. That was the last really deep snow. At about 8-10 inches then. So yeah, along here, these were some massive willow trees, and they've pollarded them. So although it looks quite severe, I actually do forestry. I've got another channel for forestry stuff, and none of these trees are dead. Come along in a few months, these will all have new shoots sprouting up from them, and it'll create a really kind of nice hedge effect of the willow here. So I think that'll help with this pool that's to the side of them, because this was very overshadowed by those trees, so it'll get a bit more light into that pool, which should help. You see one of the first wetland areas here. Get to another point on it in a minute and zoom in so we can have a proper look at it. Thanks, Icy. Yeah, more people subscribing would be good. I used to put all my nature stuff on my main channel along with the forestry things, but I kind of realised that people who want to look at chainsawing are not the same people who want to look at the nature stuff. So I thought I'd start splitting everything off, but I only did that a few months ago, so this channel hasn't got many people on it yet. But I'm in a kind of training thing with YouTube at the moment. I'm doing vertical live videos, which is what gave me the idea of doing some for the wildlife. These areas are very interesting. This kind of dark, dank pool to the side. It's a wildlife lurking around in them. It's not always this wet here. It's like I say, a lot of rain recently. Right, we'll come to a point in a moment where we can see onto one of these lakes properly. See if there's anything interesting out there. Okay, so you can see the amount of open water we've got here. I think there's a shoveler duck there, by the look of it. And a bit nearer, don't know if you can see it, I think there's a coot there as well. It's a bit difficult to spot, it's kind of behind the twigs. Let's carry on. Thanks for subscribing, Kelly. What have you got in there? Is that a robin or a wren? I couldn't quite tell. It's disappeared into the brambles anyway. So on my left is the garage that I bring my car to. So it's quite nice after you've dropped the car off for a service, you can come and wander around here. Some lovely reed beds on the side here. Must be any number of creatures living in there, protected from human intervention. Got all the brambles and the gorse. Oh, I've got some flowers out on the gorse there. That's getting ready for the spring already. Nice. Hi, if you've just joined, we're on the way from Rye to Rye Harbour, walking through the nature reserve. Kind of just passing the industrial area of Rye Harbour. Going to take a turn off to the right in a minute into the one of the wetland areas where there's a viewing platform to have a look over the lake there. I was saying earlier, there's very enticing bramble bushes here in the autumn. But there's a warning not to eat any of the food off them, because this area used to be full of industry and there's a lot of chemical contamination of the soil, so you can't eat any of the blackberries that grow on the bushes there, because you'd end up poisoning yourself. Thankfully it's dry here. If you were watching earlier, you'd have seen me going through mud that nearly came over my boots. Right, we're going to take a right turn in a second, head off to this viewing platform over one of the lakes. Yeah, here we go. There's the warning about the blackberries. So you really have to watch out. It's not often you see a warning like that. Yeah, so this is where we're heading to. Reed bed viewing platform. And as it notes, you do sometimes see a marsh harrier. I don't know if we will today, but I have got some videos of them in the past. If you have a look at my channel, and you'll see I've actually got one of a marsh harrier eating a water bird that it's caught, which is, well, it's a bit gruesome I suppose, but it's interesting as well. Yeah, if you subscribe you'll see some more videos like that coming up. So we take a right turn in a moment. Here we go. I remember finding this place before they put a sign up for it. It was quite a surprise to suddenly find yourself out on a platform looking over the lake. Quite nice how they've constructed all this, get you over the marshy bit. So yeah, this is a lovely spot to come to with some binoculars and a camera. I'll just do a pan round so you can see the full extent of it. No, I only do YouTube. I don't do anything else. I kind of don't like social media in a way. I just like doing videos. So yeah, there's lots of info here about the reed bed and what kind of wildlife is in here, kind of birds that you see. Of course, they're all hiding now. They've seen me up here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it through the reeds. There's a coot behind them there. You can hear geese in the distance. But anyway, this is quite a nice spot on the right day. A bit windier than elsewhere. Let's head back down and carry on to the sea. Must admit, it's really good being able to just walk to this from home. Such a variety of landscape here, because you go inland and there's woodland, and then if you come this way you end up at the sea eventually. So it's a really nice spot to be around. Cheers, Icy. Bye. So we are going to end up back on the road a bit soon, unfortunately, but then that leads us quickly onto the shingle part of the nature reserve. I don't know if you're hearing much of the bird noise from around here over the wind. Thinking I ought to come down here again in the spring. Well, I think I'll drop off at this point and I'll come back with another one, another live stream once I get to the actual shingle, because it's going to be a bit boring walking along the road. Bye for now then. Do tune in again in a minute, maybe about 15 minutes I'll have another live stream.